Morning guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Up early this morning as always, 6:30 in the morning, get the kennels done and then head out as quick as I can because the next few days are going to be in the triple digits. Trying to beat the heat. I don't have an air conditioned building to work in. It'd be great if I did, but I don't, so I just got to beat the heat and try to keep the dogs cool for the rest of the day by spraying them down and keeping them in the shade, that kind of thing. So we're heading to Home Depot with Legend, and I went out yesterday with Legend, had a really good day with him, and then started my day-to-day, same thing, kind of went to the park first, worked him. And last week I mentioned I was doing variable reward and starting to get him used to dropping that play toy out of my armpit, right, and starting to accent a little bit about variable reward, right? And then now I've got that growing a lot, and we're going towards other things. I've done the 2-ball, and I'll end up bringing that back into the overall 5 or 6 different reward placements on the ball. This dog's got all the drive and then some. So it's got me thinking about Legend is the dog's name. Yesterday I went out. I won't show you any of the videos from yesterday because I was saying the dog's name wrong. I was saying another dog. My mind was split into 5 different ways. You're concentrating on the dog's training, concentrating on the filming, yakking at the screen, and concentrating on my environment around me. So the whole session I kept calling the dog a different name. So I won't put any of those out, but it was a good day. Hopefully today we're going to do the same kind of thing, and I will just do the same thing, and I'll try my best to say Legend and make sure that I say the dog's name properly. So I can post it out and then be a little bit more fair to the owner. Because it'd be a hell of a thing to call his dog by the wrong name. So all that being said, one of the things that's going on with Legend that has been this way since when he came to me, and a pretty good problem, and I wouldn't say major problem, but yeah, it is. I mean, it's something that's very well stuck in and something that we need to try to get handled. But it's one of those problems that everybody faces with a high drive dog when they're doing this high activity type of stuff. And a lot of times, a lot of people face it, and there really is no universal answer to it, I don't think. I've kind of put out a query to my buddy, Mr. Justin Rigney, gave him the suggestion to see if he could highlight this problem that really occurs a lot with a lot of different dogs within sport and within police and within all kinds of things, and it's leaking, right? And my general consensus is, I've even asked Oscar in the past, how would he handle it? Do you have an answer for this problem of leaking? And his answer was, if I did, I'd be a millionaire. So it's one of those universal problems that we always seem to face, and it's really a hard one once it gets set in, right? And it is set in with Legend. Legend is a dynamo with leaking. He's got a major problem in that regards, and I know where it came from overall. It's from an owner that didn't know any better and had a high energy outflow dog and was basically reaffirming and rewarding with his contextual type of behavior and never being aware of it, and the dog starts to get worse and worse and worse and worse, and at this point the dog's probably about a 2-year-old dog, maybe 2.5, and that being the case, this leaking is very well set in. So golden rule, be aware of the problem with a high drive dog. A lot of times shepherds are really bad at leaking, but there's a lot of breeds that will have the problem. It's an energy based problem, it's an excitement based problem. It's one that I feel can be handled if you nip it in the bud. Don't ever let it get started. Be aware of it and nip it in the bud when the dog's young. Be aware of what causes it. A lot of times it's things like not doing impulse control. If this dog would have had a really heavy set impulse control and then nipping this in the bud right away, it never would have gotten started as bad as it is. Okay, would that have alleviated altogether? No, because a lot of it's genetic. The dog is who the dog is, and it's a genetic predisposition that manifests with excitement, right? And then when you don't do the right thing, and so you reaffirm that type of behavior without even realizing you're doing it, the dog manifests this behavior all the more. And so contextually, you can end up increasing it without being aware, and time goes along, and before you know it, it's spiraled up and it's gotten way out of control. And then you have to use an aversive to nip it in the bud, and that's really not the way you want to come at it. So bottom line is, there's probably a lot of trainers out there that are a lot better than me that maybe can address the subject. But overall, leaking is something that's so common that we're always concerned with it. How does it get started? How do you solve it? By not letting it get started at all. That's the biggest answer I've got for you, right? And be aware of it and cognizant of it to a point where you nip it in the bud and you start doing your training in such a way that you don't let it manifest itself, right? That means how you address things, what you do with using impulse control, teaching the dog to be calm. I just did one this morning. I can't post it because it didn't have enough memory on my phone, where I started talking about a little trick that I have with high energy outflow dogs, and little spastic dogs, right? And I call it 1,001 to 0. And I'll see if I can address that with Legend. It's a good one to use. Legend doesn't spiral up as much, but in a general sense, it's a good one to kind of accent some of the things that we might do to take the dog's mind and their excitement level to another place that never lets leaking get us started, right? Because you can actually cause leaking to spiral up and become a major problem. And a great example of that is Legend. Legend has a really severe problem with leaking, and it gets to be a pain in the butt. He whines with everything. He whines with every excitement area. You come out to the kennel, and it gets to be very annoying, and it's a major pain in the ass, I'll be honest with you, okay? So there's a lot of things that I could see if they would have done it when he was younger and a puppy, and really addressed it when it was younger, that you could have calmed it down, tamped it down. I don't know if you could ever get rid of it with a dog like this that has this predisposition, because I think it's just kind of like a lot of things that we do. When we pick a dog for Schutzen, they're picking a dog with a really back bite, and they want that nice grip. Those are genetic traits. Those genetic stamps. Remember, you hear me talking about it all the time. Well, leaking is one of these things that it's a genetic stamp. It's predisposed, right, within certain dogs. And you need to be aware of it, but you can get it to be a lot better or not let it spiral out of control and become a major problem if you're aware of it and you handle this in the right development of the dog from when they're young all the way through their development. And that is something that I'd like to get more into as we go along. And maybe some other trainers that are a little bit more savvy than I am, that have a little bit more experience than I am, please address the subject, because I think it's something that everybody can learn and grow from, right? It's one of those subjects that that is going to be out there a lot as we go along, because we're learning and growing all the time, and more people that address it and talk about it, maybe these things will start to get hardwired within our community to a point where we start to get a little bit better handle on this individual problem that is, like I said, genetically predisposed and can be allowed to be really ramp up to a point where it becomes out of control. And there's a lot of people that have concerns with it. A lot of people have to, a dog like that, and they have to address it. And it's important to a subject for us to be able to kind of talk about and get out so that everybody becomes aware of it, and we start finding the path that will overcome this problem, from not allowing it to happen in the beginning and nip it in the bud right away, to not letting it spiral out of control and manifest because people are doing things the wrong way, right? All right, I'll let you guys go. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, on my way to work some dogs at Home Depot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.